Is October 25th, 2021. I'm going to roll through the NBA slate today and give you my 2 cents. Hopefully get your 2 cents back and have discussion on these games and figure out who you guys are rolling with and just talk hoops. Love to talk hoops. So first game, we got Bucks at the Pacers. Lopez out, Drew doubtful, Portis questionable, Dante out, Ojale questionable. I mean, there's a lot of injuries on this Bucks squad. Line opening up at -3. I think a lot of people are going to be on the Bucks. I've seen a lot of people saying that they're going to be on the Bucks, but I mean, I wouldn't just roll past these Pacers. I mean, they're a good team. Last year, the Bucks were 0-2 without Brook Lopez on the floor. This year, 0-1 without Brook Lopez on the floor. Without Drew, they were 5-6 last season. I just really like this Pacers team at home here, +3.5. We just saw the Bucks get mopped by the Heat. Not that this really means a whole lot in the NBA, but the Bucks got mopped by the Heat. The Pacers just beat the Heat by 11 points in their last game. Again, not that it means a lot. There's a lot of parity in the NBA, but I mean, if that tells us one thing, it tells us that the Bucks struggle without Drew and Lopez on the floor, which is understandable. I mean, that's your third and fourth best player on the floor, so to take them out, Giannis basically has to do Greek freak things. He has to, drop a 40, 10, and 10 game to win, which I wouldn't put it past them. But I mean, I like the Pacers here at home +3.5, which is where I took them. I think the lines moved a little bit. I think I'm seeing them +2.5, +2 on some books, but I like the Pacers at home on this one. Next, we have Celtics at Hornets. I'm big on this Hornets team. They're a really good young squad. The pieces are clicking this year. LaMelo's looking great. Miles Bridges is looking awesome. I mean, all these pieces are looking good for them, and the Celtics have struggled so far to begin this season. They got their first dub last night. Against a pretty poor Rockets team, and that wasn't even a very convincing win. Jaylen Brown questionable on this team, questionable for the Celtics on this one. Both of these teams will be coming off of a day of no rest. They both just played yesterday. I might be a little bit sold on the Hornets because they just beat the Nets, and they did it pretty candidly. Their starters didn't play a whole lot of minutes, at least LaMelo. I think LaMelo only played like 27, 28 minutes. Might be wrong about that, but I think the Hornets, especially at +1, giving you a little bit of safety net there. I think, that's the pick that I'm going to roll with on that one. Next up, we got the Magic at the Heat. I don't see myself, ever betting on the Magic. Yesterday, I took an L. They beat the Knicks. They're the biggest underdog of the day, and they won that game. But that was a pretty poor shooting night from the Knicks. Fournier, Randall, and RJ combined for 16 of 52 shooting, including 5 of 24 from three-point land. You're not going to win a lot of games shooting like that, even against a bad team. The Magic is riddled with injuries. They have a ton of injuries, a lot of guys not playing. 14 points is a lot to cover for the Heat, but I think they bounce back after the loss of last game. Even if Lowry doesn't play, I'd be tempted to lay these points. I think that the line's even adjusted a little bit now. I'm seeing it like -13, -13.5 on some books, and that's probably what I'm gonna roll with on that one. Bulls at Raptors. I've seen a lot of people on the Bulls here. The Bulls are the only 3-0 team in the league this year so far, but they haven't really played a halfway decent team. They played the Pistons twice, beat them both times, barely covered in the first game, played like dog doo-doo, dog water, but for the first 3 quarters and kind of got it together. But, I think this Bulls team is a good team. I think they'll be hunting for a playoff spot, but I really like the Raptors here at home +3. Give me the points. Really good defensive Raptors team, and the Raptors have surpassed my expectations so far this year. OG and Scotty have been playing really, really well, scoring the ball everywhere on defense, grabbing boards. I think I'm going to roll with the Raptors +3, where I saw the line open, but I think that it's actually now at plus 1.5, which tells me that a lot of money is likely on the Raptors, and that's where I'll probably going here on that one. Wizards at Nets. Line open at minus 8.5. Line is now minus 6.5. Minus 7 on some books, but that tells us that a lot of people are very convinced that the Wizards can keep this one close. I would probably say that's probably because they won by 1 point in overtime against a pretty decent Pacers squad, but they shot 50% from three-point land that game. That's not sustainable. I don't think it's going to happen again. Kyle Kuzma had almost 30. Dinwiddie had a little over 30. Those aren't the guys that I'm going to put my money on, especially against a Nets team that is favored to win the championship. They haven't looked amazing so far this year. I'll admit that, but outside of KD's played MVP level, which isn't shocking. But KD's been playing great, and I think I'll roll with the Nets here. I took the minus 8.5 early on this one, but I mean at minus 6.5, that's great. It's a great steal, in my opinion. I think they can cover that. And bounce back from a bad beat on the Hornets, especially at home. And the Nets are a really good home team. If the line continues to adjust and we see like a minus 5.5, I'm probably going to double down on that one. Could be a mistake, but I'm going to have to do it. Pistons at the Hawks. Seeing this line opening at minus 10.5 for the Hawks here. I think it's adjusting now. I see it like minus 11, 11.5, even 12 on some books. Hawks are coming off a loss to the Cavs in a pretty poor shooting night. Hawks have shown the ability to play some really great defense in the league so far. Last year they had a couple of pieces that were injured. Cam Reddish has been, I don't know. I mean, I think he ate his Wheaties, all of them, all season, all off season long. He's been super aggressive. He's been playing really, really well, and this Pistons team is they're just not good. They don't really have a point guard. I'm not going to bank my money on Jeremy Grant keeping this one close. It's no hate on Jeremy Grant. He's a fine player, but he's not a number one option on a team. It just is what it is. I'll roll with the Hawks here on this one. Pelicans and Timberwolves. These teams just faced off a couple days ago. The Wolves barely covered the spread, minus 6.5, which I took that too. They won by 7. Cat fouled out. He had a little fit, with like 6 or 7 minutes left. I think I had like a 9-point lead at that point. Biggest lead of the game for the Timberwolves was 17. So I mean they've shown that they can outclass this team if they don't let their emotions get to them and get into foul trouble. But Pelicans without Zion have not looked good. And I think I'm gonna roll with the T-Wolves minus 5.5 on this one. Cavs at Nuggets. Garland, now questionable, might play his first game of the season. I think on paper this Cavs team is not all that bad. They have some pretty decent pieces for a rebuilding team, and their front court's pretty stacked. And you need a good front court to play against the Nuggets. It's a lot of points to lay for the Nuggets. I might stay out of this one. I can definitely see the Cavs keeping this one close. If I had to pick, I mean, a lean at best, but I would probably go the Cavs at plus 10.5 to keep it somewhat close. But I probably will stay away from that one. Blazers Clippers. That's going to be a good game. That's the game I'm probably most excited to watch. For today's slate. It's going to be a good game. Powell's out for the Blazers, Ibaka out for the Clips. Portland won last game, pretty convincing win, I suppose. They had 21 threes, a lot of threes. I don't know if they'll keep that up against this good Clippers defense. Clippers are 0-2 to start the season, and I think that they'll grab their first win at home here against the Blazers. So I'm going to roll with the Clippers minus 3 on that one. So if you guys have any comments or just want to talk hoops, let me know. That's ultimately why I do this. I just love basketball. I love talking hoops. So if there's also any information that I glanced over that you might find helpful, share it with me. I'm always down to talk hoops.